Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, his mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence.
Banking made simple and convenient. At Builtwell Bank, we're here for you. Whether you're making a milestone purchase or saving for retirement, our dedicated financial team will walk with you every step of the way because we care. From personal banking accounts to making sure your business and commercial needs are met, we'll make sure you have a dedicated Builtwell banker that understands your unique needs and goals. Serving Lawrenceburg and Summertown. Come see us today. Member FDIC.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
At C&B Linen, fast, friendly, and reliable service is our promise to you because you're not just a customer, you're family. From multi-use linen to branded floor coverings and a complete range of cleaning supplies, C&B Linen is here to make sure you have everything you need. From our high-quality products to our fast, friendly, and reliable service, you'll experience the difference with C&B Linen because you're not just a client, you're part of our family. You'll be winning with C&B Linen.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Welcome, everybody, here to X Sports Live, brought to you by C&B Linen. AJ Good, joined by Michael Marks here once again. And Mike, I'm trying not to burp. There we go.
It always hits you right at the show start.
Right when the show starts, even though I've sort of taken out half of this so far. But, got my workout in, mowed the grass. And, you get a little parched, want a little something extra other than just water sometimes. And, the downside to that is you get a little gassy.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I try to avoid anything carbonated before. I'm not as strict with it with shows. Before games, cannot do it because I will be awful the entire game.
I wish I would heed your advice there because I do get a little gassy. I try not to burp or I'll mute myself or whatever the case. Wish we had those when you do those fancy games, they have the
cough button.
And then immediately the game after. Especially when I'm producing my own games, I'm getting ready to I'm putting my hand up and where'd it go?
Yep.
It's not there. But but anyways, it is state tournament week, Mike, and got two teams in it. There's been several years where we've only had one. Last couple years we haven't had any. But this year we've got two. The Summertown softball team making their way there, and the Lawrence County baseball team will be in Murfreesboro. We have a lot of fun in store starting tomorrow.
Yeah, a ton of good games. Obviously, getting Lawrence County in there, you're going to get to see the 3A side in baseball, which has been no slouch this year whatsoever. And then you got a 2A state softball tournament that has Summertown and community on different sides. So, ton of fun slated for this week.
Let's get into the baseball side of it first, Mike. last week on Friday when we were doing the show, you know, it was after they won and 7 of the 8 brackets have been completed, and you still didn't know because of the blind draw, and you don't. And we find out Saturday afternoon that the Wildcats drew the reigning defending state champions in Greenville High School. That's who they will get in game number 1 Tuesday night, tomorrow night at Smyrna High School. So, you know, right off the get-go, it's like, okay, you know, you're the top 8 teams in 3A. None of this is going to be easy, but man, they throw them quite the team to face right off the get-go in game number 1.
Yeah, and I'm just amazed at the amount of games Greenville's played. To be able to have played up to...
You're only supposed to play like X amount of them.
I did too.
Everybody here.
Yeah, I would say they almost have 10 more wins than Lawrence County, and Lawrence County only has 2 more losses. So it's going to be an incredibly talented team. It seems like each side of the bracket kind of has that one team that looks, at least record-wise, a lot better than everybody else. But 9 times out of 10, it feels like those teams don't always make it all the way through. That, you know, these Lawrence Counties, the Covingtons, the Alcoas of the world can definitely give them some trouble.
You know, they've been so good. You know, I was looking up, they've made it to the state tournament, I think, like 5 or 6 years in a row. Actually, I think it's more than that, but they've been so good, you know. And again, it's just one of those where you go into it, you try to schedule tough, and I think Lawrence County has done that, but you're never going to, you know, our state's so big. You know, they won it in 25, 23, and 18, so they've won 3 of the last 4.
Yeah.
Or 2 of the last
2 of the last 4.
But they've made it this will be their 4th straight appearance. But they've made it 6. That's right. They've made it 6 times starting with their first in 2016. So they've made it 6 times, including 4 in a row, and no runners up. So they either go and they don't go to the state championship game, or they win it all. So they're kind of boom or bust once they get there.
Yeah, and looking at their schedule, some of those losses were early season games against Knoxville Catholic, against Farragut. So this is going to be one of the better teams in the state. Have looked really, really good down the stretch, though, and it's going to provide a very good challenge for this Lawrence County team. But again, I think that you can almost look at this Lawrence County team a little bit like you did in the football playoffs. That you didn't expect a whole lot because you didn't know what to expect. If Greenville definitely don't want to overlook this Lawrence County team because they can put up runs in a hurry, and the pitching and defense has been excellent late in the season as well.
Alcoa and Covington on the other side. Alcoa has been, you know, they made their first state tournament ever a couple of years ago when they're on Loretta's side, and they've turned into a really good team there in East Tennessee. And where is Covington?
Covington's West Tennessee. So I would say those two teams are about as far apart as you can get.
Every region, we've got way East Tennessee. Then like Bristol, Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis.
Yeah, pretty much.
All represented in this bracket.
I would say Covington's right there between Memphis and Dyersburg. So it's really it is a good representation from the west side of the state.
Yeah, and they're 24-12. You know, there's this. You look at all 4 of these teams, and we can't find any common opponents because there's just no way to have any common opponents.
Yeah, I would say when you mentioned that you got all parts of the state, so it is tough to find some of these common opponents. Maybe an Alcoa Greenville in there, but they obviously didn't meet in the regular season. So you really have nothing to gauge these teams off of. So you have to go out there and really show them what you got. But that's what's always my favorite thing about the state tournament is when you get there and you have some teams that haven't run into each other at all throughout the regular season. You're going to get some first-time matchups, and it also just leaves to the amount of sort of mystery, I guess you could say, with rotation, with maybe a pinch hit at bat, some guys on the bench. What's it going to take? But yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun, and you got a lot of games to play.
Yeah, I was talking with that Coach Clint Wright this afternoon. He called me during my run, which he always calls me when I'm in the midst of doing something, whether running or it's mainly been when I'm mowing the grass. But he told me this is one of the best teams they've seen all year long. They're right up there with the CPAs and the Green Hills, and he said they're in that top 3. Maybe you can rotate who's 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, CPAs in the state tournament. Green Hill just missed out. I think they made it to sub-state.
I believe so.
So I mean, it's this. If you take a bad start in the CPA game, they're in it from start to finish, and they look like they belong outside of that first inning. In Green Hill, they were up 4-2 before they went to the 7th, and things kind of imploded there. But I don't think this team's going to fear Greenville, nor should they. They've played a lot of good teams this year. He was telling me that their ace is a really good left-handed pitcher, got a really good fastball. But the thing the Wildcats have done all year long, Mike, is
hitting
hit velocity and hit people's aces.
Yes.
It's those 3, 4, and 5 guys that those 68-mile-an-hour curveballs.
Yes, those are the ones you have to worry about.
Struggle with a bit, but if you throw in the high 80s, low 90s, this team's got a really good chance, which is it's wild when you're talking about high school kids.
And that's something I've noticed a lot about the state tournament in baseball. It doesn't matter 1A through 4A, is that sometimes teams 1s and 2 guys are starting to get hit a little bit more because obviously sometimes third or fourth matchups.
Studied,
I would say you're getting the third and maybe fourth matchup against them, so you're seeing them a lot better. It's those guys in the bullpen and the offenses that really take shape. So, and you look at the offense that Lawrence County's been able to put up the past couple of weeks. You'd like to see that carried all the way to Smyrna, and hey, at that point, you just gotta start hitting the ball.
Yeah, I mean, and the way their offense has been excellent. It's scoring a lot of runs. It never felt like, again, no disrespect to Martin Luther King Magnet. That's a very young team. That team's probably going to be in that spot a lot. Give them a lot of credit. They never gave up. They played hard, and they've got a lot of talent. But, once their ace gave up 4 runs in the second inning, that game was over.
Yes.
They couldn't really do anything else after that. This Lawrence County lineup just overwhelms guys. I mean, you got Jack Story's your 8-hole hitter hitting 300, doesn't strike out a lot. I think there's only, of the 9 guys in the lineup, only 3 of them have struck out more than 10 times.
Wow. That's that's
there's
incredible.
A couple right at that 8-9 range, but you've got a couple guys. I'm not going to mention their names. I know them off the top of my head that have struck. But when you look at the amount of strikeouts and their amount of at bats, they're only striking out in 20% or less of their at bats. So at least for the most part, they're finding a way on or making contact and making defenses work. Which that was the key to that Martin Luther King Magnet. They had 6 errors in game 1, 5 errors in game 2, and they took advantage of it. And that's just putting the ball in play and making the defense beat you.
Exactly, and that sometimes is the key in high school baseball. Just put it in play, and you say that with not a lot of guys striking out a lot. They're putting the ball in play a ton, and that's how they've been able to score some more runs. Yeah, you may see the strikeout numbers higher for some guys, but when you have an offense that is this aggressive, they're going to swing a lot. Sometimes you miss it. That's just how it goes in baseball. But AJ, I just looked the 6 postseason games that Lawrence County has played. They've scored 63 runs. So if you can put over a little over 10 runs a game, you like your chances there.
I'm not going to give. I know who they're starting. I'm not going to give that away. But as Clint Wright told me, that you got to ride with the best.
Yes. Right
now, and you can. There's a lot of names you can put there. Case Chapman's been very good. Logan Clayton comes out of the bullpen. 6 guys face 6 strikeouts. Braden Morrison gave him a good start. When Logan Mays is on and Logan Mays is dialed in, he's as unhittable as anybody out there. And then you can. Landon Bracey's been really good his last couple starts. Trent Waller's been great. They've got a lot of options that they can throw, but you got to be on. And again, I know who he's starting. I'm not giving that away just yet. I'll give it to you
tomorrow at 6:27. There we go.
I'll give you the starting pitcher, because at that point, everybody. I think that you got to do it
yourself at that point.
You got to turn in your lineup. I think at
6 or 6:15
somewhere. Yeah.
So we had a middle school game where a coach was a little bit late too, and they were trying to have the coaches meeting with the officials, and they ended up giving the other team a technical because their coach hadn't showed up in time, so they didn't have a lineup to exchange.
Which is, and again,
I've run into.
I tell this story a lot. When I was working in minor league baseball in the Brewers organization, I kind of got grandsoned in because a guy left, and like, hey, you play college baseball, right? I'm like, yeah. Here, you want to do all? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, hang out with like pro ball players. It wasn't all it was cracked up to be. I still had a lot of fun, but one of my daily jobs was I had to go get the lineup, send it to the league. Our manager was great, super nice guy, one of my favorite people, but he was just never in a hurry to give you that lineup.
Yeah.
So one day I got it in because it's for some reason wasn't ready, and then the pitching coach was just a pain in the what. Actually no, it was the hitting coach who was a pain in the what. The pitching coach was a great guy, but he was just giving me around the road, and finally I turned it in like 5:10, and they go, okay, umpires are now being notified of your punishment. So the punishment was because they didn't turn it in. It's supposed to be 2 hours before first pitch.
Yes.
So our first pitch was 7:05. It had to be turned in at 5:05. And the punishment was when you're pitching, you have a ball.
Oh.
Every batter starts off 1-0.
The entire game.
The entire game.
Whoa.
And when you're hitting, you start off. Every count starts off 0-1.
Oh, that's awful. I mean,
I had the lineup by 3:00 the next.
Oh yeah, I would say that is crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting way to look at baseball games.
Yeah.
Or at least that one in that instance.
Well, because they put it on the website, and and it's like, and I, a couple guys in particular could not understand why it was such a big deal to the league, and I'm like, well, and I try to explain, like, when you got top prospects, and like it was mainly a pitching thing, like we had this was after I was working for them, but like a Jamison Tyone when he came through Charleston and when he was with the Pirates, like people want to know when Tyone's pitching,
yes,
because you'll have more people in the ballpark, that sort of thing. So if you can like get it out there, or like when Bryce Harper came through, okay, Bryce Harper's going to be in the lineup, 2 hours beforehand, more people are going to come to the ballpark and watch that day.
Exactly.
And so that's why they did it. That one guy in particularly, I've got a signal behind my camera. I hope you die in the most brutal way possible if you haven't done it yet. He's just that miserable.
Oh, no.
Human being. And I remember the phone call, the Brewers organization, like we're talking head of baseball operations and the general manager and like 5 other guys. They put them on a conference call. I cannot repeat 85% of what was said in that. And and I remember towards the end, they go, AJ, I'm like scared to death. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you're not in fault at this. The adults let you down in this room. I just want to let you know that they will have it to you 2 hours before the 2 hour mark.
Wow.
And they did that day, but I will say they got a little lax towards the season, and I was turning it in by about 10 till 5 every day. But I at least got a 15-minute buffer instead of the sending it at 5:04 every day, so I wouldn't, in the league, of course I got the brunt of it, but anyways, that's kind of off topic there. But let's switch here to softball. Summertown draws Westmoreland. They got Scotts Hill and Marion County. The other side, it's wild. They and 1A takes over McKnight Park. They're all playing at the same time in that. Whatever, it's not a hexagon, square?
I guess it'd be a square.
Like
I mean, it's four-sided, a diamond, I guess, sort of.
Yeah, they're all in different directions, but they're all playing at the same time.
Yes.
They draw Westmoreland. 27-16, community made it, so district's well represented. They're on the opposite side of it, but
and funny enough, another district well represented, Scotts Hill and Adamsville, also in the same district. So half of the state tournament is pretty much 4 teams from right here in the southern middle Tennessee.
But I'm looking at these records, and I've done some research on these teams, just like Lawrence County's bracket. Really good teams, but nothing is just insurmountable at this point.
Yeah, well, after you beat, and I get it's probably a game that we've talked about too much, but if you beat Community 22-6. There is not going to be another team in your schedule, in your classification for this entire state tournament that's going to frighten you, except maybe Community.
Right.
So, and they're not on your side. You handle your business against Westmoreland, Marion County, and Scotts Hill, and you're back to another state tournament championship game.
And, they go into that game against Harpeth on Friday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, on Friday, and, man, they just look like the better. I know they didn't get their first run until about the 4th or 5th inning.
I believe the 4th, yes.
4th inning, and it was a pretty close game. But watching it and then going back and watching it again, it never felt like they were ever in any threat to lose that game.
No, because Harpeth started just as slow as offense on they did. They both scored their first runs there in the 4th, but Summertown kept adding on as the later innings kept going on, and
ball started going over the fence.
Yeah, Olivia Woods had an excellent game, and. Listen, she's had a ton of those heading into the state tournament. If there's somebody I'd want to throw out there on the mound day one, it's got to be her.
Yeah, I mean, she's been the stalwart there. They do have other good options.
Yes.
And they can certainly rely on those. But, Greenlee Taylor swinging the bat great. Izzy Garland has been so good.
Yeah, on
all
fire.
year long. And, I would not be surprised if let me check the time real quick. At 10 a.m. at MTSU on Friday, it's Community in Summertown standing right there playing for a state championship, playing for what, the 11th time?
Yeah, it feels like it. I think they're at 7 now, 6 maybe. So yeah, what's one more matchup between those two? And honestly, as good as they've been and as good as those matchups have been, that would be a well-deserved treat for the state final.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's recap the Lady Cats of Lawrence County season came to an end sub-state against Springfield. And, they go down 1-0 in the third. They tie it up. Carly Van Pelt, some aggressive base running, scores on they steal a base, scores on a throwing error after that. And it felt like, okay, all right, they went down, but they're making their comeback. They're feeling better. And then top of the fifth, hit that 2-run home run.
Yeah.
With 2 outs, kind of took some of the air out of the building a little bit. They add some runs with 2 outs in the 7th. Kind of Lawrence County there a little bit. So season comes to an end, but hey, you win the season. It just seems like every year they're getting better. Okay, last year, win the district in an incredible come from behind fashion. You make it to the region championship game, lose, go on the road the sub-state, and then this year
you get to host it.
You win the district outright, regular season tournament. You win the region outright, and you host sub-state.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, you're losing some good seniors, Elizabeth Hagan and Tevi Statham, and wish the best for them. E's got a great future. I hope Tevi's got somewhere to play because she can certainly add something to anyone's roster out there. But it just seems like, with as young as this team is, you sophomores, freshmen, up and down the lineup, this could be a team this time next year standing in the same spot doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully winning. Not doing the same thing as far as losing sub-state, but can get back to the same place.
And that's what I think has been such a benefit for Lawrence County this season, both baseball. I mean, you can go even back to basketball season was, yes, they do have some seniors, and they have provided great leadership, but it's not 2/3 or 3/4 of the team. It's just been a couple of players. You get a lot back for next year, and this has been great experience for all of those ladies that will be coming back next year. And Taylor Babb just had an outstanding day for Springfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, goes the distance, does really, really good. Sorry, I was trying to log on Coach T, and it just looked like it had like this massive error. But I was able to get through it. But yeah, great season for them. We hope the best, and we don't know what our schedule is going to be like for the rest of the week. It's also looking like weather's not going to cooperate.
Not one bit,
Wednesday,
and it never does.
While we're there, so we'll see how that goes down. And it's funny. Lawrence County and Greenville. I'm just looking, and it's number 2, number 3 in the latest coaches poll rankings. So that
you're getting a great matchup there.
It'll be great. The Green Devils, Greenville
Green Devils.
I love that.
Yep.
I love teams that. Well, I can't root for them now, but my high school was green growing up, so that's kind of got the.
I think they'll let that one slide.
Yeah. I'm not wearing green tomorrow. No.
Well, hey, I mean, a lot of people that were Lawrence County fans were cheering for somebody that went to Greenville just a couple of weeks ago with Jacoby Gillespie. So, that dude was incredible there in basketball. I did some stats on him a couple weeks ago. He won like 85 games in high school or something like that. 2 or 3 time state Gatorade Player of the Year. I mean, he was outstanding.
Yeah. Well, Mike, let's go into the college side of things. Let's start off with UNA. For the first time in school history, they are co-division champions. They set the record for wins in the Division I era. Co-division champions just had 6 Lions aimed to the all-academic. So they got the 4 seed, so they get a day off. They don't play until Wednesday,
yep.
So I believe the tournament in DeLand, Florida, so which I think is Stetson.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that's Stetson. So they will get a first-round bye, and single elimination. This is what it is. So congratulations to them. Played very well at home this year. Back-to-back sweeps of Austin P. So here they are. First round bye, single elimination tournament, and we'll find out who they will play, I believe, tomorrow in the tournament there.
Yeah, it's been an outstanding season for them. Obviously, didn't go as far in the A-Sun tournament as you would like to. Tried to make that run at the big tournament, but definitely
baseball.
Baseball. Oh, yes. I would say big sweep this weekend against Austin P.
Yep.
And again, getting a bye heading into the conference tournament. Again, you've had such a good year this year. Getting a bye going into the tournament, giving you a little bit of a rest, I think could help a ton as they try to make the run at the big dance.
Yeah, let's see. Hey,
Someone from the A-Sun's making it. It's just we'll have to see who that team is.
Exactly. Some more UNA. Briley Dover was named the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, NFCA. I'm going to make sure I say that right. All-region team for the South region. She is the first one from the Division I era UNA to ever make that. Awesome for her. She was voted to the second team as a second baseman. It's incredible.
Well, I would say, I would say we know how good she's been at the high school and college level. To see her get that kind of recognition, though, on such a national level, that's incredible.
Yeah, she had a 384 average, and she was the only player in the A-Sun to finish the regular season with 50 hits, 50 runs scored, 40 RBIs, 10 doubles, 10 homers, and 10 stolen bases.
Talking about a five-tool player. You got all of it right there.
And set the school record, Division I record, 55 runs scored this year.
Yeah, what an outstanding season.
I mean, not to pat myself on the back, but watching her in high school,
You could
this
tell.
girl's going to kill it.
Yeah, I would say we went through a good stretch there where we had some high school players at all, or some softball players at all three of the high schools that were just dominant.
I still remember, they're at Huntington, they're trying to make the state tournament first time ever in school history. They had a really good team, and that place was packed, and she hits 2 home runs in the sub-state game. And I remember just the second one, it's single elimination, which we can have more conversations down there. Why is baseball double elimination?
In softball not.
But softball not.
The one that you would say is, and I'm not saying the sport is easier to play, I'm just saying it's easier to get the games in with physicality players-wise. Yeah, that's... Yeah. It's a mystery to me as well.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and it's very unfair. Yeah, again, that's another rant for another time. Not going to go, down that road with it. But, I just remember being at that game. She hits 2 home runs, and just, Huntington's making this comeback. They kind of jumped out to a big lead. The Huntington, I think, got it to within a run or two. Then she hits a ball. I mean, just tattooed, probably landed, because this field was like in the middle of this hilly residential area. Like, I've drove by it so many times. I'm like, man, my GPS is just
it's telling me it's right here.
It's telling me it's full. This is full of crap, man. And she hits this ball, and I went,
yeah.
And the whole place just died. And then the other ball she hits in the state semifinal on Saturday, that I immediately went off the bat and said, get out the tape measure.
Yeah,
You're not catching that freaking ball.
I about to say, and that's we've talked about it a ton, but the level of athlete we've gotten to see around here over the past, you can just go back the last 10 years.
Yeah,
it's been special.
Yeah, some more UNA news, Mike. I got this email this morning, so we know about the A-Sun UAC United Conference. They're breaking off. The football members are breaking off per se. To kind of join their own league. But I get this email this morning. So they've created an A-Sun UAC partner to launch the Unison Sports. So let me read the press release. So the Atlantic Sun Conference, the A-Sun, and the UAC have announced the formation of Unison Sports, a groundbreaking joint venture built to support the strategic alliance between both conferences that reflects a shared commitment to creating what's next in college athletics through strength and innovation. Set to launch on July 1st this year, Unison Sports will offer shared services and resources, enhanced revenue-generating opportunities, collective purchasing, and featured scheduling alliances, enhancing the student-athlete experience with the A-Sun and the UAC. The new structure will initially announce last summer, recognize an opportunity to build upon the long-standing football partnership of the two leagues upon the launch of Unison Sports. The WAC will rebrand as the UAC, the current football brand of the A-Sun and the WAC. Recognizing its new membership composition, this coming year will debut the 8 multi-sport members of the A-Sun and the 9 multi-sport members of the UAC, including the 8 football members. The impact of this new partnership, I should say, is already being felt in membership Men's and women's basketball will feature an array of high-profile games between the two leagues, bringing valuable Division I games to campuses. Shared resource plans are expected to create significant operational cost savings for both conferences. So, and future announcements will include a new media rights agreement and a modernized staffing structure aimed towards enhanced services and revenue generation.
That was a lot of words.
That's not a word salad. That's a word salad bar.
Yeah, I was about to say, that was the house salad of word salad right there.
Lot going on right there.
Yeah, and obviously it is a little different with football being in the UAC and everything else kind of staying with the ASUN. So,
well, okay, so if you're doing it for scheduling purposes, the point, I was thinking a lot about this morning when I was running. I'm like, okay, like you're splitting off, but I look at it from, you're going to use it as a way to schedule each other so you can have guaranteed games so you're not always having to schedule NAIs and Division IIs. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But, that way, because the way people are scheduling people, this whole Tier 1, Tier 2, you need all this stuff going on. But I'm thinking about it like, okay, a new media rights agreement, but you're two separate leagues. How does this work? And also from an NCAA tournament perspective, you were two separate leagues to begin with, but but now you're rebranding, but you're combined.
Yes.
How's the NCAA? Are you still viewed as two separate leagues when it comes to tournament bids? Because you're taking all these teams who were in the ASUN, you're combining them with the WAC, and then everybody else in the ASUN it's the football portion of the ASUN with all of these WAC schools combined.
Yes.
But now all the other ASUN schools who don't have football have their own thing going on over here. So does the NCAA? I guess since they're expanding the tournament, but also think about from a baseball and a softball perspective, how does that work? Do they both get is this a combined bid thing?
That is a little confusing. I do think it helps things on the football side because I know scheduling and you can even throw it on the baseball, basketball sides of things as well. With scheduling has become really difficult for some of these smaller schools as of late. And I think we may start seeing some of this happen at the FCS level, at least on football. Two conferences maybe signing some sort of joint agreement to where they are their own entities as conferences, but hey, you'll have two games from. Well, it was just for this. You'll have two games that are 4 games UAC, 4 games ASUN, or 6 games UAC, 4 games ASUN, something like that to where you can fill out a schedule every year, but without having to rely on what the big guys are going to do every year.
It was a lot of word salad. That was a lot. I got confused over again. It's like, this is why they need former, the media people like this to read this and go, what in the world? How do you think how am I supposed to interpret this? Oh, they're going to form Unison Sports, which, by the way, I hate the name of that.
Yeah.
You're very close to it sounding, not to go in the details, but that could turn wrong. Yeah. Someone could misinterpret that wrong, or someone could have some fun with that wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, very yeah.
So, I'm just throwing that out there a bit, but not a big fan of that. But it's just like anything else. We're just going to have to wait and see how this all pans out down the road. Obviously, like you said, it's going to help with scheduling. Just my fear is, okay, if you're doing all this stuff combined, how does the NCAA view that? Okay,
when it comes to basketball, is this group are they just getting one bid, or is it since it's still two separate conferences technically, do they get 2 bids?
Yeah,
I can see where the confusion can stem from that.
That's what I'm afraid of. It's one of those things. Okay, if this is going to help you guys schedule games and whatnot, great.
And help with TV deals and sponsorships and stuff like that. As long as it doesn't have any sort of actual making one big conference out of this kind of thing to it.
Which if it helps you guys bring in more money, do it. All for it. I just want to make sure that if you're going to be together but separate, the separate entities still count as 2 bids to the tournament.
Yes.
That's just my my whole thing with it.
And it can be very confusing with that, with what you're going to do with that. And we may run into some confusing things with it in the next couple of years. Obviously, I mean, the tournament keeps getting expanded, so everybody's going to be in eventually. So I'm curious where this takes, where this goes.
And it makes you go, like, maybe this is why they expanded the tournament, because this might not be the first domino that falls with all of this.
I would say I'm not sure how much effect it will have in basketball, but I do think we're going to start seeing some FCS conferences start to do kind of a conjoinment where they can help each other schedule games.
Yeah, especially the ones that are closer together. Even though, like, FCS, it's either a way eastern southern
or
sport,
way west,
way western.
There's nowhere in the middle really.
There's a lot in Texas too, but all that stuff.
But like the Great Plains area, it's mainly just NAIA and JUCO at that level.
And D2s and whatnot. So, all right, Mike, coming up next, we'll take a look at Tennessee and the SEC tournament and all that stuff coming up next here on Exports Live, brought to you by C&B Linen.
For the best meal from south of the border, head to Cocina Real in Puente Grande for lunch and dinner. With a wide array of mouth-watering entrees, there's something for everyone on the menu. And you can't forget the cheese dip. They'll treat you like family, and you'll never leave hungry. Make Cocina Real Mexican Restaurant and Puente Grande Mexican Restaurant your choice for authentic cuisine, located in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Mike Keith, and my friends at Elliott Johnson Insurance have a great partner in Auto Owners Insurance. Auto Owners makes it easy to get life, home, car, or business insurance. Let Elliott Johnson Insurance find the Auto Owners policy that makes a difference in your life. Call Elliott Johnson Insurance at one of their 3 locations, Florence, Loretta, and Lawrenceburg. Elliott Johnson Insurance, moving forward for our clients every day.
Comprehensive care with a compassionate touch. That will always be the guarantee at Encompass Healthcare in Etheridge, Tennessee. Whether you're looking for primary or urgent care, x-ray services, or weight loss treatments, the team at Encompass is equipped to serve your needs today. The doors are open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5 and from 8 to noon on Fridays. Make an appointment with providers Kendra Brown, Tori Cox, or Ellie Brown today. That's Encompass Healthcare, located on Highway 43 North in Etheridge, next door to Chapman Tire.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
Flooring sets the tone throughout your home.
For flooring that makes the right first impression, start by choosing us, Floored by Justin.
A one-stop flooring destination. Our new location stands alone for unequaled customer service and selection. Owner Justin Story's mastery of custom hardwood inlays means every room can have a custom look. Discover how the right choice of hardwood, laminate, carpet, or tile can set the tone in your home. Contact Floored by Justin today.
The Summit of Lawrenceburg is the premier senior and assisted living community in the region. The Summit makes it home for you or your loved one with diverse suites that welcome and encourage community, plus gathering spaces, neighborhoods, daily activities, and a wonderful staff that supports you every day.
Hi, I'm Tara Blue. I'm the new director of the Summit, and we would like to invite you and your family to come and tour our facility. We would love to see you here.
At C&B Linen, fast, friendly, and reliable service is our promise to you. Because you're not just a customer, you're family. From multi-use linen to branded floor coverings and a complete range of cleaning supplies, C&B Linen is here to make sure you have everything you need. From our high-quality products to our fast, friendly, and reliable service, you'll experience the difference with C&B Linen. Because you're not just a client, you're part of our family. You'll be winning with C&B Linen.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to X Sports Live, brought to you by C&B Linen. AJ Good here with Michael Marks. And Mike, we're talking SEC baseball tournament. Kicks off tomorrow, and Tennessee, the 10 seed, draw South Carolina, the next to last team in the in the SEC. They get them at 5:30 tomorrow. Winner of that will play 5:30 Wednesday against Arkansas.
Yeah, SEC tournament's one of my favorite weeks of the college baseball season. Only shortly behind this point next week when you have all the tournaments starting up and this, that, and the other. But listen, Tennessee came off a great weekend at Oklahoma. Got down early in all three games. Were able to make comebacks on Thursday and Saturday, I guess technically, when that first or the second game of that series ended. The one thing that I've got for concern for Tennessee, it's been a while since they've won a Sunday game. And the pitching rotation's kind of been out of whack with Landon Mack being injured. So the last two Sundays or the last two game threes have been really difficult for Tennessee. So I'm kind of curious to see how they look to tackle that. But you get South Carolina in the first round of the SEC tournament.
It's not been good.
It's been a rough season for them. 7-23 in conference play. I think they actually stole a game from Texas earlier in the year, if I remember. Yeah. But it's
had
not
to fire their coach.
Yeah, I would say you had to fire Paul Maneri. Yeah. You're on a 12-game losing streak right now. It's not been good. Cam Appenzeller making the start for Tennessee. I think it's going to be his second start of the season. Made a start in a midweek game. Has been Tennessee's number one guy out of the bullpen. So looking to get a lengthy start out of him. And then when you get to Wednesday, you just have to, if you get to Wednesday, you'll just have to see where it goes from there. But Arkansas is definitely no slouch from the 7th seed.
Yeah.
I just think you look at the SEC basketball tournament, and okay, maybe 8 through 10 is some easier teams, man. You got Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Tennessee in there, and those are not teams you want to run into right now.
Hoover's going to be a lot of fun. Championship game is Sunday. So.
And I believe it's on ABC as well. They're putting college baseball a little bit more in the limelight. I like to see it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. The rest is on SEC Network. Missouri, Ole Miss. Winner gets Mississippi State. Kentucky, Vandy. Winner gets Florida. Already told you about South Carolina and Tennessee. LSU, Oklahoma. Winner gets Auburn. So, and then you got Georgia, Bama, Texas, and A&M, all with the next buys after that. Single elimination tournament. So, again, it's one of those things I'm pretty sure Tennessee's in to the tournament for sure when you look at the record and you look at they finished really strongly. Of course, taking 2 out of 3 from Oklahoma, 2 out of 3 from Texas. You took 2 out of 3 from Alabama. You have some, you swept Mississippi State.
Yeah, I would say you have some good wins.
They're firmly in. I think if you can maybe make it to that Texas game, win a couple games, South Carolina's not going to boost anything. Arkansas will. If you can maybe slide into that Texas game and maybe even advance to the semifinals, you're in hosting territory at that point.
Well, and the good thing about the SEC is it's so good that you once you make it past that South Carolina game, because again they're 22-34, not going to boost anything RPI wise, but you get Arkansas, the number 12 team in the country. You win that game, you get Texas, the number 5 team in the country, and then you're waiting for a Texas A&M. They're a top 10 team. If you make it to the championship, it could be a Georgia or a Florida or an Auburn there waiting for you. Yeah. They're all top 15 teams. Georgia and Auburn both top 10. It has a really good chance to help boost the resume for somebody who is either A, on the outside looking in, or maybe just on the outside of hosting looking to make a jump, because I think really Arkansas through Tennessee, the 7 through 10 are all kind of fighting for that last chance to host.
Yeah, Tennessee just snuck back in to the top 25. They're at 23 right now. Mississippi State's in there at 16, Alabama 15. Looking at some of the other SEC teams in here, I already mentioned Bama. Arkansas is at 12, A&M 10, Auburn 6, Texas 5, Georgia 4, and then you got UCLA, North Carolina, Georgia Tech sitting right there. My boys still number 9 going into it. So they've, they asked their coach, Steve Sabins, about, probably getting a chance to host. And he said, look at our resume, because, the Big 12 regular season champions, Kansas, who's sitting there at 13, their lone
Series loss
was a sweep at home to West Virginia. So, and there's some, I'm looking at Arizona State, took 2 out of 3 from them, lost 2 out of 3 to Cincinnati, sitting right there at 22. I believe those are the only Big 10 teams. They're the only Big 12 team in the top 25. So, Got some. Well, they didn't play Oklahoma State, so.
Well, hey, I think West Virginia is actually in a good spot. I think they could be looking to host not only a regional but potentially a super regional. D1 baseball has them as a 12 overall seed right now, so just a couple spots.
USC, Virginia Tech, and Bucknell.
And I've seen another one that had West Virginia.
Virginia Tech doesn't like traveling to West Virginia.
I would say that's been a rough state for them this year. But I have seen some projections that have West Virginia as high as 10. Ooh. With a team from Knoxville in that regional.
Oh man, road trip!
I would say that would
be. We might be doing Exports Live
from Morgantown. Hey, I'd love to make the trip.
I can't wait. I'll show you guys around a little bit, all the good and the bad. But we're going to keep the bad to ourselves up there. But not that I was around it too much all that often. But let's go to the softball side of things. Mike, Tennessee takes care of business. Against Virginia and Indiana, Northern Kentucky, and they draw Georgia at home. Not sure when that starts. But,
Thursday through Saturday.
So
that and Nebraska, Oklahoma State is also Thursday through Saturday, but the other 6 series are Friday through Sunday.
Yeah, Nebraska, Oklahoma State, Texas, Arizona State, Arkansas, Duke, UCLA, UCF, Florida, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, and Bama, LSU. So that's 3 SEC matchups.
Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, and Tennessee, Georgia. Funny enough, none of those teams had regular season matchups.
That's wild.
Yes. The only 2 of these teams that actually met in the regular season were Nebraska and Oklahoma State, who had an out-of-conference series battle. Oklahoma State won Game 1, Nebraska won Game 2. Yeah. Game 3 was rained out.
Yeah,
so we got a chance to really settle the score there in Lincoln, but
they're not in the same conference.
No, yeah. I would say Big 12 and Big 10.
Yeah, that's it's crazy to think that. Same conference anymore. Well, I had to double check when I saw Texas and Arizona State because they're not the same conference.
I would say, and they never overlapped in the Big 12, but it was close.
Yeah.
Say Texas out the door when Arizona State came in, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 SEC teams out of the 16, and 13 of the 16 hosts, and all 8 of the super regionals.
Yeah. Well, Mike, let's get. I'm surprised we haven't talked about this. Well, Lane Kiffin's pulling the Lane Kiffin. He is just sticking his foot in his mouth. He said. When it came to Ole Miss, he had trouble recruiting players because of their former bad history with race relations. That's been well documented. There's been documentaries about the whole thing. But he's issued an apology. Basically, I'll get your thoughts on it first before I give mine.
Well, I think it's the first time we've heard Lane Kiffin sort of apologize for something. It was one of those I saw, a headline from, it wasn't Vanity Fair, it was something else, and I was like, oh, that's probably fake. And then I see the Vanity Fair article, and I'm like, well, one, why is a LSU's football coach doing a long sit-down interview with Vanity Fair of all people, and then you start reading it and you see all the quotes and you're like, okay, am I missing something here? He's saying that Ole Miss felt like it was segregated. Was talking about how that was not a thing at LSU. That was something behind him leaving. He had players and recruits and their parents and grandparents telling him that they weren't going to let them come to Mississippi. And then the next day you have Ole Miss players and parents calling into radio shows saying, he never told us this. He never told us not to come here. And he's just somebody that likes to be in the spotlight, and I think he may have overstepped a little bit too much right here. Just a bit.
And he is just still bitter that they would not let him coach in the playoff. When he first started flirting with Florida, first started flirting with LSU, they told him, if your team makes the playoff, you're not coaching him.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to deal with this with my 4-year-old all the time. I literally do. He gets something set in his mind that he wants to do. And no matter how many times my wife and I say, CJ, no, we're not going to do that. And he will throw an absolute fit. This is Lane Kiffin.
Yes.
This is what Lane Kiffin does. He doesn't get what he wants after being told multiple times and been told well in the future that you're not going to get this. And then he throws a fit.
Well, imagine, I would say, let's just throw something. Say I get a job at ESPN tomorrow, and then I say, hey, I want to come call Lawrence County State Tournament game.
Yeah.
No, you don't work here anymore.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
They might actually still let that happen.
But
that's another story.
But you know, still that's still like you don't work here anymore at that point. You told your assistants to get on a plane or they don't have a job.
In control. Like,
yes.
If you were needed, like
obviously, but you know, it's kind of that scenario where you wanted to go to greener pastures and then kind of finish out your time somewhere else. It's not how it works.
Yeah, and it's just all bitterness over it, and it just puts an even more bigger target on his back that he just did not need. And what, let's just face it, he hasn't won anything big of significance called a playoff game. The
only time his team has made a playoff, he wasn't the coach.
He wasn't the coach, and they did an incredible job, and honestly could have made it further than what they did.
Yeah.
And Pete Golding and that staff
did an amazing job.
And they were afraid of him recruiting those players, which is what he was doing.
100% would have done.
What that staff was doing while they were there, because some of those kids went to LSU.
Well, I think you're at a point right now where if he stayed, you're probably looking at Kawan Lacey and Trinidad Chambliss playing for LSU and not Ole Miss this fall.
Yeah, exactly. So LSU had every right. Not LSU. Ole Miss had every right to do what they did. And especially when you give this guy multiple warnings, hey, don't do this. This is what's going to happen. He still did it. And like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What, Mommy and Daddy? What?
Yeah. Why am I in trouble now? Yeah.
Like what my 4-year-old does. It's like, dude, just get a grip. I just don't understand. Well, Mike, we got finally got our conference picture cleared up in the NBA. We got a Game 7. Wasn't much of I turned it off at halftime because this game just got worse and worse. And then I tuned in one point in the third quarter between the Cavs and the Pistons. And I'm like, okay, it's the NBA. You got 24-second clock. You can gain a lot of ground. This can turn on a dime. And it got worse.
It got worse.
It got worse and worse.
Yeah. Detroit needs a second option.
Yeah.
Dennis Jackson was the leading scorer in this game. I don't know who Dennis Jackson is that well. Yeah. It was not a good game for Detroit. Cade Cunningham shot poorly. Tobias Harris didn't do good. Jalen Duren did not have a good game. The offense was not there at all for Detroit. No. And you look at
12 of 39 from 3. And when I was watching, I'm like, you guys are pretty good from inside when you're inside the paint. But like, get to the paint. They just kept shooting threes. I'm like, when the other team's shooting 51%, now they weren't great from 3, 11 for 34, but they also got into the line a lot, 44 times, even though they were 28 of 44, which is not great, but you get out rebounded, especially on the offensive glass.
Big time.
31 assists to 21, 10 steals, turnovers, you have 15, and even though you got more points off turnovers, but they just shot better than you on your home court. That's what it is.
I would say you said it right there. They outplayed you at home, and that was a division rival, not only a conference rival. Cleveland and Detroit will play each other, 10 or 12 times, however many it is, in the NBA coming up. And honestly, Cleveland did it without their second best player. James Harden was not effective in that game whatsoever.
Surprise!
Yeah,
in a game
seven, James Harden doesn't show up. But thankfully, this time he wasn't looked at as the guy. They had a Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen there, and Sam Merrill goes for 20 points off the bench. Just a great win for Cleveland, and a bit shocking. I really thought Detroit was going to be able to kind of nullify that Cleveland comeback, but man.
Did not.
Cavs look really good, and so do the Knicks right now.
Yeah. So we got Spurs Thunder, which you could have seen that coming, and then Cavs and the Knicks, which I don't think many saw that one coming. I thought we were looking at maybe Cavs Boston or maybe Pistons Boston, but we get Cavs Knicks, and that's going to be a fun. Both of those are going to be fun series. We're going to be fun to look forward to. And then in the NHL, we knew this was going to Game 7, but I didn't feel it when you have Buffalo at Montreal in Game 6, especially when Montreal gets a shorthanded goal to go up 3-1, and then the Sabres just
scorched earth.
On them.
I mean, it felt like it was just practice for them. A big 8-3 win for Buffalo. I would say we talked about it. We knew this was going 7 games. I was all Montreal.
Yeah, I was too.
You outscore someone 8-3 in a Game 6. There's a lot of confidence going back for Game 7. And you're at home.
I can't imagine what that atmosphere is going to be like in Buffalo with a Game 7. against Montreal.
And that's tonight.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's tonight. It's the only game. Oh, well, no, that's right. Game 1 for the Western Conference
is on Wednesday.
And game 1 for the Eastern will be on Thursday. So, alternating
Yeah.
days.
Hey, we're getting to that point now.
It'll be a lot of fun. Well, Mike, that will wrap it up here for Exports Live, brought to you by C&B Linen. Don't know what our schedule is going to be. Depends on the state tournament, but we'll keep you guys updated on our schedule. Hopefully, we don't have, for all the right reasons.
Yes, hopefully we don't have another show this week.
Another show. That means I'm in Murfreesboro a lot.
And I'll try to throw a mark my words in there to keep everybody up to date.
So that means, I'm in Murfreesboro, and Summertown's doing great. Lawrence County's doing great. All things above. So for Michael Marks, I'm AJ Good. We'll see you guys soon. And it's all up in the air.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.